Brittany, no Ultron for you. It was just announced that Marvel has picked their Ultron, and it's James Spader. So I guess this is kind of their move to dominate the headlines, just how Warner Brothers did with Ben Affleck last week. So I think that's a big part of the conversation we're going to be having here is how do these two news stories contrast? Is one good and one bad? Are they both bad? How is 2015 shaping up? I can't believe we're talking about 2015, and we're only about 2/3 through of 2013. But as you know, these films will start shooting very soon. Avengers starts shooting at the beginning of 2014, right after the holidays. So James Spader, good choice. I have to say, I do like James Spader quite a bit. He's one of the few live-action actors who is really well known for having such a distinct voice and vocal pattern, kind of like Christopher Walken. I think they're really pretty much in a league of their own, actually, those two guys. So we were having a discussion actually on Morning Movie News just the other day about Rocket Raccoon, and I was saying, why do they want to cast a star when they could get someone who does great voice work over in the gaming community, where there are voiceover stars to do the voice, and pull in that demographic. But I can understand for a mainstream audience, James Spader, I think, is a household name. He's been working for decades. However, he has been working so much, but it's where he is now that gives me some pause for concern about this casting choice. James Spader has become a television actor. He is actually the star of the Blacklist, I think a very big show on NBC that they're debuting, at least they're hoping it's going to be big. And of course, he was on Boston Legal for years. I think a lot of people know him mostly through that work. So I question the decision to use a television actor for such a large, prominent role, no matter how good James Spader might be. And I think he's quite good. I think that he could do a very good job here. But I do feel that this brings up a point that I think both Marvel and DC are blurring the lines a little too much when it comes to movies versus television. I understand that these are sprawling properties, they're comic book properties, and that they wanted to try and get as much out of them as possible. And Arrow is it's not a huge hit, but it's very popular on the CW, and it does have its fan base. And Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., a lot of people are excited about that. But because there was the recent news on Arrow that, Slade Wilson is going to be on that show in a more prominent role, and it's just like when you hear that, you're like, oh, so he's not in the movies anymore? I think they have to be careful. Movies and television need to be divided clearly, or you're going to have a large swath of your audience, I think, who feels, well, then I'll just wait to watch it on television. I'm not going to pay to see it on the big screen. So that's what tempers my excitement about this announcement about James Spader. Will this put a little bit of a pall on the Avengers 2? Will it make it seem less cinematic? I guess that's how I feel. I feel that one of the greatest things about Nolan's work is that it felt so cinematic. And I think the Avengers just walked that line perfectly between, being a big cinematic film, but also to some degree being very much a comic book and also just a Saturday morning cartoon. It had those elements, and I think Whedon has to be careful, and Whedon himself has a very strong television background, which is why he might not think it's a problem to bring Spader in. But, you have to, I think that someone at Marvel needs to be sitting there and checking every decision and being like, is this belong on the big screen? Is this a movie decision? So, James Spader, I also, I hope Ultron is going to be a robot. I would imagine so. So that means I guess James Spader will be doing a lot of motion capture work for the character, which I think has mixed results. But again, his voice acting is so excellent that that will come into play. And I'm excited to see him verbally spar with Robert Downey Jr. I mean, talk about a combo there. James Spader versus Robert Downey Jr. It's going to be the snarkiest battle of wits we've ever seen on the silver screen. I wonder if Whedon has the ability to write that conversation. That sounds like more something that Shane Black or another screenwriter would do. I mean, maybe there'll be a lot of improv on the film. We'll have to see. Very curious to see how this plays out. So that's my thoughts on this news. It's big news. I think that it's not as questionable as the Ben Affleck casting for Batman, but I'm going to put an asterisk next to it. I want to see how it turns out. Maybe making James Spader a robot will make him somewhat removed from the film, so they don't have to worry about that. But I do have some concern about this heading into television, property, especially with Elizabeth Olsen playing the Scarlet Witch, because that's kind of Buffy-esque, kind of CW heroine that we see all the time on television as well. So I hope that Whedon can resist his television roots. That might be the biggest enemy of the Avengers 2 of them all. So what do you think? Do you like James Spader? Is he a good choice to fill the evil shoes of Tom Hiddleston as Loki? Write your thoughts down below, and more on this later this week. And also tomorrow there will be a comics to movies on Ultron. So I hope you enjoy that. All right, thanks for watching. Bye.